Hey guys, we are back with another Work With Me audio. This time we're using some new technology. I have had a lot of issues with my headset mic and recording anything, or even the Discord event that I hosted the other day for an early May the 4th be with you. We do a Star Wars celebration each year. This time we watched the Robot Chicken specials, but whatever. In any case, even during that, I was having a lot of audio problems, so I now have a lavalier mic, or lav mic, and which just means a wireless lapel mic, but I'm using that now, so we will see if we like the quality of that audio better. Frankly, it's probably more comfortable for me, especially as it gets hotter each month. But in any case, let's get to it. Today I have quite a few chores that I need to get done, and some cooking that I'd like to do, and we'll just see where we end up going. Alright. So as always, I hope you are doing well. I hope you are happy and healthy and all of that good stuff. I wonder what you guys are up to. And I wonder how you're actually using these audios. Are you using them during your workday? Are you using them just to keep you company, like on your commute to work? Or are you using them to help you study? Are you using them while you do your own chores? I would love to know, those of you that are using these, listening to these, how are you using them? And is there anything that you have figured out serves you best? Something you don't like? Something that's not working? This is very new to me, so we are learning together. So yeah, I would love to hear what your experience is and what you're liking. I also issue the challenge to you of giving me your best or worst dad joke. I love dad jokes, so I would love to hear what you have for me. Also, this is a sneak peek, little bit of info that I have not really released anywhere else. My best friend and I are exploring a podcast together, and we have our first episode recorded, and I will be doing the editing for that very soon. It doesn't really require too much, but we did have some audio issues during that as well, although, well, no, I was thinking that I might have had issues with that because of my headset mic, but no, that's not the case, because, yes, that's not the case, because I was using my professional mic for that, so that is not what the issue was at all, unfortunately, because that would have been a quick and easy fix, but whatever, it is what it is. Anyway, I've kind of been wanting to try one of these mics for a while, but I didn't really have a reason to do so until things went haywire. And if I'm honest, it wasn't exactly in my budget, but, you know, in any career path, you kind of have to spend money sometimes to upgrade technology or to fix things that inevitably break, regardless of what your career path may be. So, again, it is what it is. Anyway, what is going on in the world? Goodness, Katy Perry is still being talked about. I talked about Katy Perry in the last one of these that I did. Pardon me if I accidentally, bonk the mic or anything, because I'm not used to having a mic that can be nudged with something. But anyway, I don't know if that one will ever see the light of day, because the audio in that was absolutely terrible. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make that usable or not. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards not at this point. Oh gosh. Which is unfortunate, but it does happen sometimes. Oh, goodness. My stomach has been all kinds of unhappy as of late. Oh, goodness. That stupid meme of, I have a tummy ache and I'm being very brave. I swear that was made just for me. Ooh. I don't know. Sometimes I think that being a woman just kind of comes with the free, nobody wants it, tummy trouble pack that just is downloaded without your consent or knowledge. Whatever. There are worse things in life, honestly. And I have certainly struggled more in the past than I am currently, so I will try not to complain too much, but it's kind of been an ongoing situation for the last, 3 or 4 days, I would say. Not like a stomach flu thing, but just I don't know, my stomach is just unhappy, seemingly, when I put almost anything in my stomach, so we will figure out what that is. Or rather, what does work in the future, I suppose. Oh gosh, how do I generate so many freaking dirty dishes? It kind of boggles the mind, to be honest. But whatever. I mean, I guess a good portion of them come from cooking, because I'm trying very hard to be more budget conscious and tighten my purse strings a little bit. So I've been doing more home cooking than I had been previously, which is leading to some workflow challenges, but, you know, whatever. There are challenges in everything we do, so, it'll be fine. Let's see. So I have this awesome contraption that slices and dices vegetables for me, but it can be a challenge sometimes to get it completely clean of all the little bits, and so I find I have to use a little brush to kind of knock the little dried pieces out. I apologize if that is too loud, too noisy. I'm really looking forward to getting your feedback on what are just some atrocious noises, because the idea of these is that they won't be editing intensive, because my full-time editor has sadly needed to take some time for themselves after working together for the last 2 years. And so I do have another friend that helps out when I ask, but they are also working on achieving their own dreams and starting their own business, and so I cannot ask them to do things all the time. So I'm looking for content that doesn't require as much editing and time. So luckily you guys tend to prefer content that doesn't have too many sound effects and whatnot. For those of you that listen to my spicier content. So, yeah, I'm just trying out new things. Trying to offer some safe for work options as well as my more spicy options. Because it's always good to have options, you know? Okay, I think that might be as good as it's gonna get, honestly. Oh, goodness. And I keep bonking the mic. I am so sorry. Everything has a learning curve, I suppose. Including different mic formats. I'm used to using my professional mic, which honestly is a gaming or gamer like streaming mic, but in my opinion it is so much nicer than the Yeti, the Blue Yeti that used to be like the industry standard for an entry-level mic, but it is no longer that at all. My mic is so much better than that. And then for these work with me audios, I've been using, I believe that brand is Stellar Arctis or something like that. That has been my editing mic slash, just quick and dirty little audios that I do via like Vocaroo or like, because in the past I've done individual custom little quick audio responses to things or custom audios that people asked for that were just like 100 words or less. I've done a special event thing with that once, which maybe I'll do that again. That was kind of fun. But yeah, anyway, I've been using the gamer mic for that, and I also use it when I'm hanging out in Discord, talking to people, sending my writer messages, that kind of thing. It's nice to have some kind of an option for a quick, on-the-go, but good quality audio mic. So, that's what I had been using, but like I said, something changed. I think a lot of people are complaining about it and have been complaining about it for the last, I don't know, 4 to 5 years, I guess, that all of a sudden the mic will just start having issues, and it seems like maybe each time they do some kind of upgrade with the gaming mic headset situation, the Stellar Arctis or whatever it is, it seems like when they make some kind of upgrade, they're also kind of breaking something else. At least that's kind of what it appears to be. So hopefully there's a patch or something in the future, the near future, that solves that issue, because it's a real bummer to not kind of have a one-stop shopping kind of solution for my editing and recording, like non-professional recording. That would be my preference, but we will see. as of right now, it didn't make sense to invest close to $100 in another gaming headset when the actual, headset portion is fine. It's just the mic stuff that I'm having issues with. So I went with the cheaper, I think it was $50 for this mic, which gives me a lot more capabilities, a lot more flexibility and maneuverability, a lot more ways I can use it. So, but this also may not be the keeper solution. I may end up going a completely different direction at the end of the day, but we are trying this in the meantime. I've heard a lot of really good things about these wireless lav mics, specifically from this brand. I always do my research when I buy anything for work, but most especially any kind of tech, because I am not the most technologically advanced, aware person. I mean, I'm not too bad. I'm not uncomfortable with technology per se, but I wouldn't call myself a techie either. So, but yeah, that is some of what has been going on behind the scenes. And some of you may have seen me allude to that or mention that without specifics, but just saying that I'd been having some technical difficulties as of late and asking for patience. So, goodness, what did I do with the sheath for this knife? I feel like I just had it. And I feel like I just set it somewhere to make it easy for me to find. And then I promptly lost. Oh, no, I didn't leave it. That's why I was confused, because I thought I had at least moved it out of the way of what I was doing. But no, I didn't. So I piled some other knives on top of the sheath. Oops. Oh well. Anyway. But yeah, in the audio that will probably never see the light of day, I was talking about Katy Perry and her new tour, because that's what a lot of people have been talking about lately. And as a performer throughout my life, I have a lot of compassion for celebrities and just performers in general. And I also have an awareness of what it's like to not have privacy or have your privacy violated or have people talking to you when you're out and about. Not that that happens in this line of work, thank you. Nor do I ever want it to. But, yeah, I have more compassion than probably a lot of people regarding celebrities and fame and stardom. Not that I've ever been in any, big production or anything, but I was involved quite a bit in my local scene and had enough of the experience of just wanting to get a gallon of milk and having people approach you and lovingly tell you how much they loved your performance or your offering or what you were doing. And of course that is beautiful and something that is so appreciated, so valued. And also, just because you're a performer or someone in the public eye does not mean that you stop having human needs, human reactions, or that sometimes you just are having a rough day, you're just tired, and you don't feel like being on, air quote, on, all the time. So, yeah, I had enough of a taste of that I have a lot of compassion for those in the public eye. But a lot of the controversy or talking points about Katy Perry right now is her recent Blue Origin flight, and how the women on that flight referred to themselves as astronauts, and that has upset a lot of people, including seemingly NASA, which is totally fair. Because, I'm sorry, but what they did was not being an astronaut. They did not go through astronautical, or whatever it's called, training. They didn't have to be gone for a long time. They weren't wearing actual, like, astronaut suits. Just, it wasn't that at all. It was simply a flight that went higher than is normal for that kind of thing. And, did they enter the end of, Earth's atmosphere? Yes, they did. And I believe went just slightly beyond that. But that was in no way an astronaut experience, flight, whatever you want to call it. Now, that doesn't mean that it was nothing, but I don't know. I do think Katy Perry and the other women are a bit unhinged, out of touch, whatever you might want to call it. And then Katy's behavior specifically, since she's who we're talking about in particular, her behavior when she, like, air quote, touched ground again, and whatever, she, like, bent down and kissed the ground, and all of this stuff. I don't know. If I'm honest, it felt like a publicity stunt. Oops, goodness. Finny's bowls. Yeah, if I'm honest, it felt like a publicity stunt. A way to remain relevant or become relevant again. Because she launched new music not too terribly long ago that did not go over well. I was a fan of her back in her, like, teenage dream era. I liked a lot of her music. I liked her. I liked Tron American Idol, at least until she started touching and kissing male contestants without their consent. Which, male or female, that is not appropriate. I don't know. She's always been a little odd, a little out there for me. But I could rock it. I rock with it for a long time, but it seems like for a while now she's been pretty out of touch, out there, egotistical. I'm really not sure what the origin of it is, but she's been a little odd, even for me, who genuinely enjoys free thinkers and, people that are a little abnormal, I guess. At least, when compared to the muggles. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I thought that being away from the limelight and no longer being married to Russell Brand, who I do think might factor into this a bit. But I'm not sure if I will go into that or not. But, yeah, I was thinking that being away from the limelight and creating a family and being with Orlando Bloom and, settling into being a married woman and a mom, that maybe she would feel or seem a little bit more grounded, but that is not the case. But again, with her music and with her and just the kind of performer that she is, she's always been a little bombastic, a little over the top. So that isn't particularly what amuses or captures my attention, I guess, because that's just her. I guess what I notice is just she just seems very out of touch with what's happening in the world right now. People are worrying about their health, their ability to pay for food, housing costs. And Katy and, the other 5 or so women, I mean, they're living their life and doing their own thing, and that's beautiful, and I support that, of course. And it feels like they are not just doing their own thing, but like doing their own thing with the seeming attention of wanting other people to, kind of join their, I don't know, rallying cry delusion. I don't know. Be excited for them when that cost, like, millions of dollars. That was not a handout. They didn't do it for free. They had to pay millions of dollars for that. Meanwhile, other people are struggling paycheck to paycheck with how they're gonna pay for their meds, how are they gonna feed their kids, how are they gonna, pay for rent next month. And I don't know. They absolutely can do their own thing and, like, whatever makes them happy, of course. Like, we all should be afforded that ability. And also, they don't seem to understand why the public at large, is not so enamored with them or their antics as they would seemingly like. Again, Katy Perry in particular is notable because she had her most recent album that did not do well. The music video was terrible and completely tone deaf to what people want, what women think, and so was not received well for those reasons. And I don't know, Katy just seems to keep doubling down in her choices, which again is fine, but you also can't expect people to be excited about your projects if they're telling you, as you're kind of gearing up to do different things or kind of testing reactions of things, and they're telling you that they don't like what you're doing, they don't agree with it, it's not jiving with them, however you want to word that. She kind of seems to keep butting it. Like, I mean, but this is what I'm doing, this is what I think, and me, I. And again, that's fine. She's living her life, but when you start tying living your life to your work, career, etc., people start having more reaction to that. I don't know what I'm saying, honestly. I don't know. Anyway, her most recent controversy is, because, her tour, she just, started, I think, a world tour, because she was in Mexico, but just started her world tour for the aforementioned album that, honestly, was kind of booty cheeks, in my opinion, and I used to be a fan of hers, I guess, but, was not received well. The tour, I don't know if it's being received poorly, but like as far as people in attendance, I don't know if she has a smaller attendance because they didn't care for her song, music video, etc. Also, she's still working with Dr. Luke, I think is his name, the guy that was working with Kesha and was alleged to have been shitty to other performers. Most of his clientele has moved on from him. But whatever. I guess Katy Perry is still working with him. So that also has people feeling some kind of way about her and her choices. But anyway, the criticism is about how terrible the choreography is in the tour. I've seen some clips that were confusing and atrocious, honestly. There's a viral clip that's going around of her essentially dancing with a Darth Maul lightsaber. Like the double-ended red Darth Maul type lightsaber. And to the song E.T. Extraterrestrial, which I think is a good song. As part of the Dark Horse, etc. era, which I was a fan. But, the choreography is awful. Her choreography in particular. She is really half-assing the choreography, and I don't understand why. Because her backup dancers are very committed to these, sometimes rudimentary, dance moves. And I didn't know if maybe she just wasn't feeling well that day. Something else was happening. Is she struggling with choreography more than she did before she was a mom, like when she was a little bit younger? I don't know. I didn't know. So I went looking at some other clips, and they just got even worse. Like, in comparison to the Darth Maul E.T. performance song, whatever, these other ones are just atrocious. She seems like she is just miserable. Like, she just doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to be doing any of it. And a lot of people in the comments are like, she's clearly not enjoying herself. Why doesn't she just, quit the tour? And I agree with that. I don't think people realize what canceling a tour actually entails, or more importantly, like, who foots the cost of that when an artist does do that. Like, Justin Bieber had to cancel his last tour because he started having, I believe, Bell's palsy or something. There was something that was causing him to have problems with his mouth. I believe it was Bell's palsy, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But, yeah, so tours cost millions of dollars to create when you think about the amount of dancers, support staff, the amount of equipment, the entourage that needs to come along, makeup, hair, all that kind of thing, sound design, lighting people, sound checks, the sound engineers, that kind of, not sound checks, sound engineers, that kind of thing. So, tours are paid for by one's label. And so when you cancel a tour, that means you, as that artist, usually are expected to pay those lost costs. Now, it depends on what your contract is, but most of the time, it's expected that you will recoup, absorb that cost, because the record label definitely isn't going to want to do that. So, there's my demon child. So yeah, just cancel a tour isn't really, at least in my view, a valid choice. I mean, I guess it is, but I guess she could probably afford, paying whoever her record label is a couple milli, but understandably, people won't want to do that. But I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening, but she definitely doesn't seem like she wants to be there. That is for certain. So, anyway, I don't understand why one would have a bunch of choreography if they were intending to half but the choreography. Like, either fully commit or just don't do choreo. I don't know. That's just my unasked for opinion, but again, as a previous performer, I was very frustrated by her choreography showing, I guess, because you've got her dancers who are fully committed to the various dance moves, even if some of them are silly or rudimentary or what have you, but like, they're showing up and Katy is just not, and it looks odd. It looks atrocious. I'm not sure what her game plan or intent is there. She said in an interview recently that she felt like she'd been a pinata. Like, because people have been so cruel to her regarding the whole Blue Origin thing and how she's, dreamed ever since she was a little girl of going to space and how she finally got to achieve that dream. And all of that is valid and fine. She has been kind of put through the ringer of public opinion and what have you. And frankly, people are very angry in general right now. And, a lot of people are just kind of looking for a reason to feel like they're allowed or entitled or whatever to just kind of be crappy to other people. And I'm not saying, that people don't have a right to be angry and upset. I don't know. I think you can have opinions about things and even criticize people, but you don't have to be cruel about it. And I do feel like people have been very cruel about their feelings, opinions, perceptions regarding Katy Perry and all of that. I mean, obviously, I'm not particularly speaking in her favor either, but I don't think one has to be a cruel asshole about it. But, yeah, she said that she feels like she's kind of battered and bruised by people's criticisms and opinions. Valid to feel that way, and also maybe she wouldn't feel that way so much if she was listening to the public, but more importantly, her fan base, who, you should care about. I care about and should care about my listeners. They are the reason that I'm able to do what I do. The reason that I'm able to at least partially support myself with what I do. So that's why I'm always asking for feedback regarding the new things I do and just periodically about the work that I'm doing in general. So, I think you do need to care about your fans, your listeners. And she seems like she's not doing that. In addition, I just feel like mm, she's maybe having a little bit of lack of compassion for how people are struggling or fearful right now or angry or what have you. So I don't know. But she just seems to keep doubling down, and I'm not quite sure where the disconnect is. But my fear is that her tour may be canceled or just crash and tumble, crash and burn, simply due to hubris and egoic reaction to what her fandom and people in general are saying. Again, I feel like she should listen to the fandom more than just the populace at large, because, if you hate her, then, or, aren't her supporter, I don't think that you should be given as much weight as someone who is a supporter, is a fan, is a listener. Well, hello. Hi, demon child. Did you wake up? Did you wake up while Mama was doing dishes? Here's your pillow. You want to lay on your pillow? Actually, let me fix your pillow. Hang on. It's kind of out of its pillowcase just a little bit. Okay. There you go. Oh, there you go, bud. Yeah, that's a good boy. For those of you that are new to my work, this is my little demon child. He is often edited out of my professional work. All of this is professional, but I have levels of professional work, I guess. Because this is professional, I suppose. I shouldn't demean it or you by saying that it's not. But it doesn't have the same level of, for me, perfection that I require from my actual recorded, scripted, acted audios, whether they be NSFW or safe for work or not. But anyway, he's often edited out of those, but sometimes he gets to co-star in stuff like this. Conversational audios, those are some other things that I've done in my Patreon that are somewhere between safe for work and NSFW. Because who knows what I'll talk about or what I'll say or how I'll say it. But the conversational audios are not inherently spicy, though spicy subjects might be broached. Well, dishes are done, but now I'm tired. I don't think it's that I'm tired. I think it's that I'm dehydrated, and I think I'm also hungry. So I'm now sitting down, drinking one of my protein shakes, and drinking some water. Oh, but the water is extremely cold. So I'm having to drink it more slowly so I don't get brain freeze. Anyway, I'm not even sure if I said what my point was in my ramble, but whatever. Katy Perry, controversial subject. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just feel like if you're going to do something, you should do it to the best of your ability. But I also have the belief that done is better than perfect, so I don't know. But the fact that I think these are some of Katy Perry's first concerts on her tour, you would think that she would be fresh and excited, and even if she wasn't excited about things that were going on in her life or public criticism, you would think A, she wouldn't want to give more fuel to the fire, but B, you would think she would want to give her very best to her fans, her listeners, the people that are funding her lifestyle, the people that are ride or die for her. I don't know. To me, that's almost like if I were to have a meet and greet, which, by the way, I will never do, but if I were to have a meet or greet, regardless of whether my stomach hurt or whether I was having a bad day or gone to a fight with family member or something. Like, I would like to think that I could be professional enough to push that all to the side and give, my very best, whatever that may be, realistically in the moment, but I would like to think that I would give my very best. I don't know. It's puzzling to me. It feels like it does feel like she has always been interested in space, because she has said that a few times. You can kind of see that as a through line in her work. I think it's absolutely valid for her to have wanted to be on that air quote space, experience. Absolutely valid. I don't fault her or deny her that. If that is something that's important to her, like, absolutely, she has the means, so absolutely do that. My criticism is the amount of publicity and the amount of kind of showing off that was done in that. And some of that I can lay at the feet of Jeff Bezos. I'm sure he very much loved the idea of all of these female stars and notable people going on this frontier flight, whatever, to promote his Blue Origin company. Like, I could understand him wanting that PR shot. So some of that I can lay at his feet, but the women's empowerment notion that Katy Perry has said, I'm not sure if other people had, but I know Katy has multiple times. And there was just kind of a through line of that, because it was an all-female, air quote, space crew. It just feels very manufactured, feels very disingenuous, feels very inauthentic. Again, not so much the what, but the how. It didn't really feel like what they were saying was authentic or delivered in an authentic way. And maybe I'm completely wrong. No one knows but them. But I just feel like the way that it was done, the timing could have been better. And then the theatrics of, bringing a daisy into space because it's resilient and, nothing can kill it except for you because you plucked the daisy. It's not like she brought a germinated, daisy with her. No, she plucked that flower, so it is actively dying. And then the bending down to kiss the ground and all of that, and the theatrics of, I'm back, and it changed my whole life, those few moments, and, I suddenly understand everything of Mother Gaia, kind of antics just felt, well, first of all, that message was not in her eyes. She looked dead inside. It just felt very disingenuous. I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. And again, I'm, a low level, small fan of hers. I've never particularly hated her before. She's been a little out there and a little, eyebrow raising occasionally, but, I've always been, a supporter of her for the most part. I felt very sad about her and Russell Brand's marriage ending, and, the songs that she wrote about it were touching and seemed very personal and very authentic, and it seems like nothing she does is deeply authentic anymore, and I'm not sure where she lost her way, but it makes me sad for her. I don't know. Just some rambly thoughts about Katy Perry, I guess. Hopefully this hasn't been completely and utterly painful to you, both in subject matter, but also just in sound. But anyway. Yeah, that's about it for this time. Let me know what you think. Katy Perry fan or no? Have you seen any of the footage about Katy Perry? What are your thoughts? I'm curious. Anyway, until next time.